Yes, sir.
Did all of you join, please?
Yes, sir. They joined.
Okay. So, increasing income for the exclusive group. This very excluded group means you see here, these groups are excluded. Why? That's why we need to include this group under inclusive growth, isn't it? So they are neglected. These sectors are neglected by our rulers, our system, our administration. So that's why now we need to realize that these people are to be included and their incomes are to be increased, isn't it? That's only one thing we need to keep in mind. Increasing incomes for excluded groups. These groups are excluded, isn't it? Next. In short run, government should see that income is to be distributed equally to every sections of the society, every individual who are the different sections of the society in short run, isn't it? In long run, welfare activity, all should government should see that welfare foods are to be reached to everyone, isn't it? You see, this inclusive growth is challenging for poorest of the poor country, not only poorest of the poor countries, even for rich countries also, isn't it? If you take the America example, isn't it? Multi-millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires are there, and poorest of the poor people also there. How to distribute the income equally among these two? These are the challenges which are faced by government nowadays, isn't it? So you see, in those countries, the poorest of the poor income is $700 less than $700 per year. $700 means 49,000. Here in India, 49,000 is very high. Some rural people, they are leading their life with 25 rupees, 35 rupees a day, isn't it? So with mere 10,000 rupees, they are leading the life for 1 year individual, isn't it? Next. Not only poverty eradication, but also short run, but also in long run, equitable distribution of wealth also should be included, isn't it? So inclusive growth means creation of employment opportunities in reducing poverty. How to reduce poverty means by providing employment opportunities. How to provide employment opportunities means provide education, provide skill to them, isn't it? Education also no mean without skill. Not many people we are going on providing education. How to convert this education into employment means we need to provide the skill to them, isn't it? So that's why skills are very essential, important. Unskilled are to be made into skilled people, isn't it? Environment friendly growth is also very important for the at the cost of environment. You should not provide employment. You need to protect environment also. Very essential, important, isn't it? So now you see the Himalayan region, the youngest mountains of the world are Himalayas. They are being disturbed by providing more construction activities, infra projects, etc., etc. Isn't it? As a result, there is a lot of pressure is happening on the natural resources in Himalayan region, isn't it? So disturbance will happen. Natural calamities like earthquakes will happen. Why? Because these areas are not in a position to bear the heavy weights, constructions, multi-purpose projects, isn't it? So as a result, disturbance will happen. If any disturbance happen again, most of the poor people will be displaced. They will be affected. That's why we need to take into consideration of this environment friendly growth without destroying the present environment. We need to provide the facilities or fruit to the poorest of the poor, isn't it? All these are the need for inclusive growth, isn't it? Now, coming to the point of the World Economic Forum on Social Inclusion and Economic Growth. First of all, Government should develop the capacity of their citizens in public and private investments, and that is the most essential way of substantially increasing the pace of growth of productivity. Isn't it? First of all, government should develop capacity of its citizens. Capacity means capacity development. They need to teach the basic technology, basic education, basic skills, isn't it? Secondly, national labor registration and institutions cooperation with the employees and workers group, isn't it? First of all, capacity building. Number two, government should modernize the national labor registration. So they need to provide the modernize the labor communities facilities to the groups. It affects the institutions, the amount, the distribution of employment, remuneration, opportunities, and the purchasing power of and level of income should increase to the laborers. So, this secondly, government should concentrate on modernization of national labor register. Third, government should encourage a public-private partnership. PPP means government will realize that no way not possible to provide more investment for the development. So they need to take the help of the private people. For example, Bangalore Metro. Bangalore Metro is totally a private enterprise, but it took the help of the government. So under PPP model partnership, private public partnership, they developed the venture. They are providing the facility to the citizens of the Bangalore. In the same way, Kempegowda International Airport, KIE, Airport, KIA. So in this also, private public partnership came into join their hands and they developed the airport. Now we are actually using this airport facility, isn't it? So these three are very essential for this economic growth, social inclusion, and economic growth, isn't it? Next point is, are you following Charan? Vishnu?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is reasons for inequalities in India. Why this inclusive growth importance now only came out? No, it is not a present situation, present scenario. So this for this purpose, any inclusive growth arises due to poverty. Then what is the reason for poverty or inequalities in India? Number one, historical reason. Since historic time, Indian income or Indian social status is totally different, isn't it? In rural areas also, there is a gap between rich and poor. In urban areas also, gap between rich and poor, isn't it? And before independence also the same thing happened, prevailed. From 1857 to 1947, Britishers converted India into the colony. They used to take lots of raw material and they converted the Indian economy into their market for their finished goods. As a result, the total monetary flow, positive monetary flow happens from India to England, isn't it? So as a result, Indian development, growth and development retarded, isn't it? Next, in one more approach, in social approach, the status of women is inferior in India, frankly speaking, isn't it? So our culture, our what we call outright a subordination, and females are to be always subordinate and weaker to males. So they should not be allowed to the production activities, hasn't it? And gradually now these days are changing and advancement is happening, we are encouraging the girls' child education, participation by the girls, women in production activities, isn't it? Next, large scale informal sector. You see, formal sector, informal sector. Formal sector means controlled by some agencies, but informal means not controlled by any agency. For example, if you want a money, if you go to bank, bank will provide you a loan based on your documentation, isn't it? This is called sector. Banks are controlled by Reserve Bank of India, but in rural areas, no banks are available. As a result, these people are approaching money lenders. They are charging high interest. No one is controlling this money lender, isn't it? So this is called informal sector. You believe or not, in finance area, 80% of people are in informal sector in India. Still today also, isn't it? Next. Agriculture dependency. In India, more than 70% of people are depending on agriculture, isn't it? Actually, the development happens from the shifting of agricultural people to non-agricultural people, isn't it? But it's not happening. Next, interstate inequalities. Growth has been defined in different states in different ways. Why? Because India is a vast country. We have 28 states, 22 of this state recognized languages. In addition to that, their dialects are there, unrecognized languages are there, culture is different, everything is different. As a result, inequalities are also happening, isn't it? Already I told you, South and West India developed a lot. North India and East India not developed that much, isn't it? And one more thing, 1991, we opened our economy for globalization, liberalization, and privatization, LPG. So this also resulted, impacted badly on our economy, isn't it? Why? Because without realizing our potential, without realizing our capacity, we invited the foreign people. As a result, we need to wear their culture, isn't it? Next. Tax is also one of the important burden for us. You know, India is following a progressive taxation. If any person earns more, need to pay more tax. A person who earns less, pay less tax, isn't it? But the progressive tax means after 10 lakhs income, you need to pay 30% of his income, near about 35% of income to the government as a tax. But compared to the foreign countries, the tax rate is nominal, only 5 to 10% they charge, isn't it? Next, skill development and jobless growth. Low skill, low job. As a result, India is facing the problem of inequality. All these are the reasons for inequalities, reasons for poverty, isn't it? That's all I am stopping at this.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, madam.
So hope you understood, children. Any doubts?
No,
Any
ma'am.
doubts, children? Yeah, sir has shared the notes also. It's given in the group.
You please go to the.
Sir, I have added
very
you in the
important
group
I
also.
mentioned.
If you have any doubts, children, you can put it up your doubts
Next
in the
class you
group.
asked. I
Yeah.
completed half of this, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And dear students, this next week, 15th is Makara Sankranti. It is a holiday. Yeah, we will not be having classes. 15th is holiday and 16th Sunday, we will have it as usual. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you, ma'am.